in the upper left, we have our Protoss player. He needs to turn this series around. He is
Grandmaster, SK Telecom T1 Rain.
Wow, that's a far out zoom.
That really makes you realize how there's absolutely nothing above the end of the map. In the bottom right, we have our Terran player playing brilliantly so far. He is
Master, Startail Bomber.
There's nothing out there, man.
Yeah, I know, that's a no man's land right there. You don't want to fall off there.
This whole area is exactly a square. And that is it. They are fighting over control of this square right now.
It's an important square.
Yep.
So, here we are. We'll see what Bomber does. You know, I think he's going to keep on using builds like this where his timings will be slightly different, his unit counts will be slightly different, and the thing is that's going to be even harder to react to than any other more normal Terran things that are already pretty tough for most Protosses to react to. So, Rain has his work cut out for him here.
All right, let's see. It looks like we already have a different kind of build here from Bomber. Going for what's more standard here from Terran, just getting that barracks out first. Going for some kind of potentially a tech. We'll see.
Rain, on the other hand, just throwing up his own gateway and going for his scout at all normal times. You know, I think this game might be pretty economical. It's, you know, on this map, you have those free bases behind you. They're kind of free. You have to be a little bit careful.
I think Protoss has to be a bit more careful than the Terran because of the medevac drops.
And I would say for that reason, Bomber can sit back and play a little bit more macro-y because he knows that his aggression is going to work a little bit better than Rain's on this map.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, Artosis. And we're going to have a better idea of what exactly the Protoss is going to do once we see the cybernetic score finish, because that's where the builds start to branch out. So let's talk, Artosis, about how I, on Twitch last night, beat Dracula in Castlevania.
I knew that you would. I predicted that.
I was so happy. That game is so hard. I'm so excited to never play that game again, but tell people I beat it. I was so hard, man.
Yeah.
You ever play any of those old
yeah,
ones?
I played Castlevania 2 a lot.
Is that
I'm
on
pretty
Nintendo?
sure I beat that. I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Is it? I think it is. I don't know.
So. I
can find out. All right, because I might play that one next. I'm not sure.
No, you need to give the Castlevania series a rest.
I saw this quote in my Twitch chat, because you know this is like the first game where it was like 2D, but they could go up and down stairs. And I saw this thing somebody wrote in quotes. And it said, "Why would I use an escalator when I can walk upstairs?" And it says Victor Belmont next to it. So funny.
That's cute.
Yeah. So the core is done, and Rain is expanding off the back of that. Oh my God!
And Bomber. Look at this. See, he's playing a bit different. He's playing against the player here, going 3 command centers immediately off no gas, off almost no units. And if Rain were to do some sort of quick push after his expand, he would break Bomber.
Yeah.
But Rain doesn't normally do that.
Well, you know, this is one of the disadvantages when you're known for not ever being aggressive, for not being a risk taker, is your opponent can then take what would be a risk and wouldn't normally work, but it's in the opposite direction. He says, well, I know he's not going to attack me, so I'm going to get really greedy here early on.
And he's getting even more greedy. Taste is throwing at the factories while not even adding more barracks. So his unit count's going to be very low for a very long time. Wait a minute. A sentry's being made. We might actually see an immortal push out of Rain.
Would that be good in this case?
You know, with the barracks being added so slowly, I think so, yeah. I think if he did like a 2 immortal push, that he should be able to break through.
You know, one of the big questions we got to ask ourselves is, when is Rain going to catch on to the fact that he is economically behind right now? Now, ideally, if this observer gets over there, he'll get a glimpse, but it's also possible for Bomber to actually just deny that.
Yeah, look, there's an armory. Is he going to go Hellbats?
That would be so funny if he did.
Oh my God. Well, why? I mean, unless he needs to start +1 attack because he's going mech, and I mean, that would be great. I would love that. And
that is a really early armory, man.
He just added 2 more gases.
Could he possibly go mech here?
Maybe.
Well, he'd definitely lose to an immortal push if he tries to do this. He actually has basically nothing that he can defend with.
Okay, so it's not an immortal push though. He did get a couple sentries, but he didn't make any immortals, and he's throwing up a Twilight. So looks like it's just kind of a somewhat greedy long-term build, grabbing those couple sentries, letting them build up their energy now.
Yeah.
And it's fine for this map because you do have those rocks that you knock down. So he's actually making it a Thor and getting +1 attack. What? Well, I guess he's going to stomp force fields, but he's definitely going to go mech then. And there you go. We have Bomber's going mech, man. I'm losing my voice here.
We've seen it all now.
This is some exciting stuff. You don't see mech very often against Protoss, that's for sure.
Well, that's because this Immortal unit is pretty good.
Yeah, it's because Terrans are wimps and they don't want to.
They're cowards.
They're cowards, Tasteless.
Well, let's see how this works out. Now, I guarantee you this definitely interrupted whatever Rain had in store for us in this game, because he's immediately going to be like, oh, okay, I got to completely shift gears here.
Yeah, and you know what? He's starting +1 armor. I love Rain to death, to bits and pieces, Tasteless, but I feel like you need to get attack against
Well, armor is better against the infantry armies, you know. Because you need the Zealots to just sponge up damage while everything else attacks.
So true.
Because the damage dealers for Protoss can die too quickly.
You know, he is getting a Side Storm, though, which is very, very important when you play against mech, because they do go for Hellbats, and quite a few of them. So by having a lot of Immortals and a lot of Side Storm, he should be able to deal with it. But you know, this is a hard brand of mech to actually beat the Thor Hellbat version.
Well, this is also something you don't get to practice against as much.
Not much at all. That is a very important point, Tasteless.
Sometimes you get you know, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. It's like the off-brand build.
Yeah.
For the race in that matchup, and it's good. It's like in StarCraft 1 when Terrans would actually mech against Zerg, and it's like, well, you actually, if you're Zerg, you have to actually know how to deal with that. Even though some people would argue that it's an inferior build compared to Bio, it actually, if you don't know how to handle it, you will just straight up lose. And I think that's what Bomber's going for here. Probably saying Rain, judging from the people on his team and who he likes to play with, doesn't really play against this as much, and therefore it might have to actually improvise in this situation to stop this, and if he can't improvise perfectly, he might just lose.
That's very well said, Tasteless, and I think that is what he's banking on. Just like in Game 1, he did something different, and Rain wasn't able to stop it.
Nice storms!
Beautiful storm drops. Wow, that was really nice. Ended up killing 6 SCVs there.
Yeah.
Not
really nice stuff, and you know, he can keep doing this. When Terran has 3 bases like this, and they're going mech, they don't generally have enough to defend everywhere.
Yeah.
They can push and attack out, but then you could see a drop could still get the damage done and then leave. And it looks like we might have that right now.
This is so awesome. 2 Warp Prisms just... Look at this, 13 SCVs killed already. And the thing is, he didn't lose anything for that. He has 2 Warp Prisms, which are useful at least. And those High Templars aren't dead. They're fine.
And the funny thing is, Bomber should be able, or excuse me, Rain should be able to do this to Bomber for a while before Bomber's going to be able to leave his base. Now, even when Bomber leaves his base, Rain may still have a hard time holding off this army. This is a very scary army.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, actually. Right now, he has 4 Thors, 18 Hellbats, and 2 Siege Tanks. That is ridiculously strong. So he's going to have to be very careful when that does move out, but with no medevacs out or anything, the Psy Storms should be able to chew through line. Look at this, another side drop coming down, and it doesn't kill as much.
Looks like he wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do there. It looks like he was going to pick up, but then he also made an Archon.
But now we do have a drop at the natural once again.
Nicely done. We have had 19 workers killed.
Yeah. And all he's lost is 2 High Templars and a War Prism. Definitely worth it.
It's 20 if you count Rain, too. So, this is really nice play. And on the back of this, Rain is getting a really good war machine built over here. He's going to be able to produce a lot. But Bomber has decided now is the time that he has to push. So, Hellbats and Thors are now moving out.
Now,
we do not have SCVs pulled. I'm really curious to see how much damage this can actually do.
There's not that big an army right now for Rain. He's really going to be relying on a lot of good size storms here. And, you know, it's hard to predict exactly how this will end up going.
Now, Rain is dropping over here. Now, this may be the same mistake we saw in game number 1. Some good storms, but nothing really killed off just yet. And if he keeps fanning out this army, not much more will be killed off here.
Yeah. So far, so good. But, oh, man, look at this. Beautiful side storms and time warps. Oh, everything is just falling down with only a couple medevacs in there. He chews through absolutely everything. And these Thors are going to be killed off as well.
Wow, that was a disaster. I was kind of scratching my head back there for a minute, like, is this actually going to beat the Protoss? And then I'm like, no, Immortals are really good. That will not beat them.
You know, yeah, Psystorm was well tasteless, and
well, Psystorm softened that up. So the Immortals
all
could
of it
finish
together, beautiful execution. But look at this, a double Thor drop. You can't just warp in 3 Zealots against this.
Yeah, that is very true. Now, meanwhile, it looks like we have a counterattack here from Rain. Rain going to go all the way back, confident that he can actually take this base out. But nice control here from Bomber over this expansion. Now, let's see, is he going to be forced to lift off here?
He's trying to run back with those Thors, 3 of them so close to death right now, but those Hellbats getting up on the Immortals, dealing a lot of damage to them.
Well, you know, this is just really highlights why you can't generally go mech against Protoss, because the Immortals are just too strong. And he did get that Nexus, but it doesn't matter.
No.
GG.
Really thrilling game, though. Cool to see Bomber willing to go mech. Not something I was expecting out of him today, but I think Rain wasn't expecting either, but he still knew exactly how to deal with it.
When I see builds like that, I'm always thinking, oh, wow, what am I going to learn today? And then what I learned is that's why you don't normally do that against Protoss, because it's not really effective. So,
you know, I like how Rain dealt with it as well, because, you know, normally you see if you can somehow find a pro game of a good Protoss that's smart against mech, you'll oftentimes see just a lot of Storm and a lot of Immortals, but he went above and beyond that a little bit by adding in double Storm drops, and I really like that.
Well, it's smart because if they're meching, they can't leave their base right away, so why not just punish them, hurt their economy? I think the game probably would have ended the same way, even if the Storm drops had not been as effective.
Yeah,
I think what it boiled down to was that Rain was completely prepared for that unit comp, and handled it very well.
I would have liked to see how that went down if he had spent a little bit more money on medevacs and a little bit less money on Thors, because the Psystorms really devastated those Hellbats without any recourse.
Well, Rain's tied it up right now. We're now 1-1. If you're just now joining us, this is a best of 7, and the winner will go on to face off against Maru here in the finals.
The Grand Finals, man, that is a huge, huge deal.
Yeah.
But so far, so good. This series is fantastic. It's a close one, and I really do hope this goes to Game 7.
Yeah, me too. I think it could. We're going to be going on to Game 3 after this short little break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.